Alright, let's get started. In this video, we're going to cover how to start practicing King's multi-throws. The first thing that I recommend doing when you go into practice mode is open up the display setting and put recovery animation on, or to display. And that's going to just be able to tell us what size of window we have to actually input the next command for the multi-throws that we're trying to do. This is just going to really help with getting the timing down and everything else to see exactly how large of window we have to kind of mash out all the different button inputs. After you have the display setting on, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the move list and you're going to select exactly what multi-throw you want to practice. I'm only going to cover one multi-throw, but the steps to start practicing it are exactly the same. So for in this example, and what I just did before is a standing heel hold combo in which we did the King's Bridge variation. So before you even do anything, what I want you to do is you take literally a piece of paper out and you record each individual step. So you're going to actually write out forward, neutral, down, down, forward, and then 23 or 2 plus 3 for the first one, and then you show that I need to do 12, 1, 3, 12, or 1 plus 2, 1, 3, 1 plus 2, and then finally 1, 3, 4, 12, 34 for the last variation. And just starting out, you're not going to have the muscle memory to do all these in the exact same order, but you're just going to have this guide. And even when you're not playing the game, if you're sitting in class or you're sitting on a plane or you're just not really doing anything, going over these different sequences is just going to help us learn. And especially as I mentioned in previous videos, that as you're doing these inputs, if you think it's beneficial, it is beneficial, you should actually say exactly what buttons you're hitting. So 12, 1 through 12, 1 through 12, 12, 1 through 12, that's exactly the kind of cadence that you're looking for. This is also the reason why if you hear me say 12, 34, or whatever, it's just a lot faster to do in timing with when you're actually hitting the buttons rather than 1 plus 2, 1. Like, it's just a lot shorter just to say 12, and just hit the buttons at the exact same time. So after you have everything kind of written down, if you're really unfamiliar with everything, you're just going to work one step at a time. So the normal throw you should be able to have down. We're just looking at the first variation and just going through this practice. It's just getting you in that mindset of what that rhythm is supposed to be and what other visual or audio cues are going on just to get that down. And so as soon as you grab it, most of the time King is going to let out a little bit of a roar to indicate that you can actually start doing kind of the next thing, the next input, the window that you're inputting everything down. And so after you kind of get this timing down of when to start it, you're just going to slowly start building that muscle memory up of actually hitting all that combinations. And again, when you're away from Tekken, if you're just sitting on the bus, you can practice this muscle memory just going through the motions and in your head. If you're in public or if you're by yourself, you can actually say 12, 1, 3, 12, 12, 1, 3, 12, 12, 1, 3, 12 until that's totally ingrained in your brain exactly you know what you're going to do. So after you've watched kind of the first step for a long time, we're actually going to start inputting it. We're not trying to do the full link combo or anything else. We're just trying to get that first connection. And one of the great things about sitting in practice mode now that as soon as you see that, in fact, it is going through that next animation, you can just quickly reset it and just do it again. This is going to maximize the amount of iterations. I'm actually getting a different one that I'm trying to do. But it's just going to maximize the times that you're actually able to try out the throw combos rather than sit and have to wait for the full animations to complete. So once you get that timing down of and that muscle memory built up, now it's time to start working on kind of the next step of a multi-throw. So in which you're just going again, and now next time we're just going to move down to the next step. So in this variation, I'm doing standing heel hook in the Indian death lock in the King's Bridge. So now we're working on King's Bridge. As you could hear when it first did the first part of the multi-throw, you didn't hear that timing of when the buttons were being pressed. That's why it's really good to know exactly what of the Indian deathlock. You're not hearing that being pressed during this stage of the animation, but it is showing you when you can start pushing for the King's Bridge and everything else. Once you've kind of gotten that timing down to perform this next step of the combo, now again we're going to pull back into our training mode and we're going to actually just try to do it. So we first have the first step, and then we have the second step, and then we can see that we've done it right. And you're just going to keep going through this time and time again until it just becomes second nature of you doing these combos, that you're actually hitting it within that time gap and everything else. Just so when you're actually in a real match and nerves are on the line and everything else, you don't have to think about it. Your muscle memory is going to do all the work. So, and then the final step that you can do in practice mode is now we can finally turn off that recovery animation. So now we no longer have that visual cue of like turning blue or just turning as a normal color, in which we're actually trying to do the combo as normal during like a real life match. And once you can start hitting this very consistently, then you're going to be able to actually be able to use this tool in a real life match. If you're just really starting out, I really recommend just kind of every day or whenever you sit down and practice to do it a minimum of 10 times or 20 times. And you have to hit that in a row. If you're just hitting once or so on and so forth, once every 5 times, that's really bad. And so you need to start at least trying to get at least 2 in a row. Once you hit 2 in a row constantly, then you can start moving to 3 in a row, 5 in a row, and so on and so forth, before you're kind of at the stage where you don't really have to practice it that much because you're actually using it in the matches, and that's the kind of the final practice of actually being able to use this tool. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. So you can start practicing these multi-throws, and then we'll see you guys next time.